Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent to me from a subscriber, and he tells his story about the classic bait and switch girlfriend scenario, where he starts talking to this girl, and in the beginning, everything seems cool, and he's having a good time. He actually meets her online. That's a big sign. And they're talking, I guess Zooming or whatever the hell they do. And the thing is, he noticed a few red flags, but nothing major. And he was thinking, hey, I can handle her, or I can handle this. And eventually she convinces him to pick up and leave from the West Coast to the East Coast. And he gets there, and as you can imagine, that's when her fangs come out. That's when her true nature comes out. And obviously it's a big mistake, and you're going to hear all about it. And what I like about this guy is that he openly admits that he's screwed up, and he's sharing this story. He's swallowing his pride and sharing the story to potentially help somebody out that may hear this and they don't fall for the same mistakes that he did. So he's a good guy here, and he's humble to admit that he fucked up. And the thing is, guys, we're all going to screw up at some point, but the important thing is to be humble enough to admit you screwed up, to learn from it and move on. And the guy's now doing pretty good. He's gotten his life back in order, but you're going to see what he went through. So he starts off the email saying, "Hey bro, first things first, I want to say I love what you're doing and educating other men out there in the pitfalls of life and relationships. That said, this one is a cautionary tale to other men out there to avoid my mistakes. If I can help one man from avoiding my mistakes, then I've done my job. It entails a toxic, narcissistic ex and bouncing back to reach for the stars. I met my ex," and he says, "for privacy's sake, let's call her Michelle. She and I started out as friends, but even when we first met, she drew some red flags. During that time, I thought, okay, it's something that I can handle." So many guys think that. They get so focused on the good things, or more importantly, they focus on her looks and her big boobs and her nice ass and hooking up or the potential of doing all that, and they let the other stuff slide, turning the blind eye. You can't do that, guys. You got to pay attention to the little things, because that can come back to bite you in the ass, which is going to happen. And again, remember something, guys. Everybody can put up an act in the beginning, okay? And I'm sure you guys have been in situations like this. I've been in situations like this when everything is all sunshine and rainbows in the beginning, and then all of a sudden after a few months, then you're like, who is this, right? Everybody can put up that act, so you got to be very, very cautious in the beginning. Don't just go falling in love or getting infatuated too much. Proceed with caution, so to speak, when it comes to, for those of you who do dating and all that. Just a piece of advice here, okay? Give it time to see their true colors, true nature. He says, "Boy, was I wrong. I digress. The more Michelle and I talked, the more we had things in common. During this time, I was on the West Coast wanting a change. It was getting expensive, and I just wanted to start somewhere new. Michelle and I scheduled for a time to meet. Yes, we did the long distance thing. Yes, it was a huge mistake, but hindsight is always 20/20. Also, I was a major, and he has that in capital letters, major blue pill idiot during this time. Michelle was in the Northeast and invited me out there. I wanted to come back to the Northeast, and I missed staying out there. After some convincing, I said, let's do it. And I went to her city." Guys, if you're not happy where you live, if where you live is just really boring, or you don't have a whole lot of prospects for your job, or just for whatever reason you want to get out of there, that's cool, that's fine. But don't just pick up and leave for some chick, especially some chick you've never met. This guy was just talking to her online, and you have no idea what you're dealing with, okay? And if you want to get out of where you're living, because I totally get that. I lived for a big part of my life in a boring small town in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania. Get in the car, do some research, because you can do plenty of research online, and then do a road trip to where you want to go, or get on a plane and go check it out. And if it's something you like, consider getting out of there. Because if you live in a boring area, not much is happening, and you really just feel life is going to go by like that, and you don't want to spend your life being miserable. But don't just do it for some chick, okay? And you're going to learn here why you don't do that. So he gets to the Northeast, and he says, as soon as 2 weeks go by, Michelle turns into a different person. Those red flags were now at high mass and right in my face. She started gaslighting me, wanting me to cut off contacts with friends and family back on the coast, and accusing me things I didn't do. She also would snoop into my phone while I was asleep looking for anything. See, guys? This is why you got to give it a lot of time. And again, this guy will only talk to her online. So he then goes out to the East Coast. He's now living with her on her terms, on her turf. And the psycho comes out. He says she'd be making mountains out of molehills, and that was her bread and butter. She once got mad at me because I cheated on her in her dream. I'm not joking. So this is a sign right here that this guy should have gotten the hell out of there right away. Okay? Hey, he screwed up. Get in the car, drive back to the West Coast, start over, whatever it is, get out of there. But the guy sticks it out a lot longer than he should have. He goes on, during my times of being homeless, and what he means is obviously he was living with her, but it wasn't a permanent home, we were in her backyard one day, and she wanted to talk to me. We were airing out our grievances during that time. Next thing I know, she got this look in her eye. And he says, I've worked in an inpatient psych facility before, and I've seen this look on mentally ill patients who are getting ready to attack. Knowing that she was angry, I got up from the chair to remove myself from the situation. She charged at me and punched me in the face. Why did she punch me in the face? Her exact words, because I felt like it. Not gonna lie, she had one of those mean old Pacquiao hooks. Her punch didn't take me down, as I'm 6'3", 290 pounds, and can bench 400. And I've been in a lot of fights growing up. I digress. She then goes, now hit me. I kept my cool and went, no. She went, why? I deserve it. I simply replied, because that's what you want. If I lay a hand on you, you call the cops, and I've had my life ruined. Very smart. I call the cops, and who are they going to believe? The dude or the female? Grabbed my bag and walked out. Good for you. Guys, you can see this chick is crazy. And she's doing all these things beforehand, trying to get him to cut off friends and family out west. She's trying to just screw all these things up, going through his phone, picking fights, mad at him for cheating on her in her dream. I mean, just the chick's crazy, okay? And again, if this guy would have early on paid attention more to those red flags and acted on it, he wouldn't be in this situation. But again, as he said, he messed up, he didn't know, and he said he was very blue-pilled back then, okay? And guys, when you have a scarcity mindset, which is most blue-pill guys do, you pretty much take whatever comes to you. When you have lots of options, when you're successful and you have your shit together, you're not going to give the benefit of the doubt when you start seeing these red flags, because you're going to know darn well, hey, it's not worth it. The TNA is not worth it. I can get more normal women and not have to deal with this kind of crap. But again, when you have a scarcity mindset, not an abundance mindset, you're more likely to accept situations and terms and scenarios that ordinarily you wouldn't. That's one of the many, many reasons why I encourage you guys to do everything you can to improve yourself in every possible way in your life. And that way then you're high status, high value, and you're not going to accept anything less than what you know you deserve and are worth on any level or any scenario here. And of course, by educating yourselves, you won't get tricked or fooled and get sucked into something like this. He goes on, 6 months go by. Oh, excuse me, I missed a part here. During my time of being homeless, I landed a job, but had to wait to start training. 2 days before I started work, she texted me saying that she was going back to her ex. Defeated already, I simply said that I wish her nothing but the best in life. I was homeless for a month before I started a new job and was back on my feet. I would work 80 hours a week to get income coming in and to get my life back on track. Good for you, man. This guy's willing to work his ass off to get things back together. That's what guys do. That's what men do. We do what we got to do to take care of shit and make it through. As I start having money coming in, my life getting back together, she texts me out of the blue thinking, great, it didn't work out with him, now she wants me back. Of course she contacted him. because she figured this guy would just come running back to her, because most guys would do that. But this guy, he's obviously learned his lesson, which is really good. Thinking, great, it didn't work out. Now she wants me back. Michelle told me that she made a huge mistake, and how, get this, when her ex and her ex were having sex, she was thinking of me. I'm not joking. I told her to please let me be, and I wished her along her way. Good for this guy. He says, 6 months go by, and I get the offer to come back to the West Coast. I take it. During this time, I get a nice car, nice place, more money, 3 classes away from getting into nursing school, and just like clockwork, Michelle comes back. Anybody surprised here? Of course she's going to come back, and keep coming back. She tells me that after we last talked, she lost her job, she lost her life savings, and she had to move back in with her mom. She then told me that she's been stalking me through ghost accounts on social media and told me that I won, and how my life is so much better. I told her that it wasn't a competition and that I worked my ass off for my car, my place, etc. Again, wishing her nothing but the best in life. Block those ghost accounts along with other accounts that pop up from time to time, and even went as far as deleting most of my social media. This chick is relentless. I mean, it's a big game to women like this. Aside from the fact that she's nuts, it's a big game. And eventually, she's going to give up and then move on to somebody else and show some other schmuck that's going to be her victim. But I'm hoping with doing this video here that some people watch this. And if any of you guys are watching this right now, whether you're watching this when I publish this today, or you happen to stumble upon this in 3 months or 6 months or 2 years, this might help you out so you don't get stuck in a situation like this guy. And he wants to help that as well. He finishes up saying, the moral of the story is this. Men, if you notice any red flags, no matter how big or small, run. I spent the past 3 years giving Michelle the Heisman, and she still pops up in my life. I've blocked over 50 throwaway emails, 10 throwaway accounts across multiple social media platforms, and yet she still keeps coming back. She even told me recently that the only reason she keeps coming back is because she only attracts loser men, and that I was the only decent man that I can find, or that she can find. I'm not joking. Avoid women like this like the plague. Thanks for reading my email, and be safe out there. Well, thank you, bro, for sharing that email. That is definitely going to help some guys out, or help reinforce what a lot of guys that watch this channel already know. So again, for you guys that do dating and relationships and hooking up and picking up and all that, remember, pay attention to the red flags, okay? Even the little ones, because that stuff shows something. And remember, even if you don't see any red flags in the beginning when you start with a woman, be aware that she generally is going to be on her best behavior in the beginning, the first couple months of the dating relationship, whatever. That's why you shouldn't go jumping into any kind of relationship right away. Really take your time if that's what you want to do. Because I know a lot of guys that watch this, in spite of all the comments and the guys talking tough, there are plenty of guys that watch this channel that do relationships and go in with, with this in mind. Keep in mind that don't jump into things right away. Take your time. Do not just jump into a relationship even though she wants that. And even though for whatever reasons you want that, okay? To each their own. I've warned you about this, but if you want relationships, take your time. And not to mention the fact that a woman's going to lose respect for you if you go jumping in the relationship too easy. If you're won over too easy. Take your time. I would say at the lowest, 6 months before you agree to be exclusive. I'm talking the lowest. Because that way, after a few months, that's when the true nature is going to start to come out. That's when the bitchy side can come out. That's when the crazy can start to come out, okay? So don't jump into anything really quickly. And for God's sakes, do not pick up and move across the country to live with some woman that either you barely know or you met a couple times or never met at all. That you're out of your mind for doing so. This guy did it. He openly admits that he screwed up, that he was blue-pilled. But I'm helping you guys out so you get to a point that you would never even consider doing that because you got so many options. And if anybody was going to be moving across country, it would be a woman to come to live with you, not the other way around. But I wouldn't do that, but I'm just making the point. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.